quadrilateral questions with ease. Let's just get started. But before that, step one is that I explain you the purpose of the session and then how this will progress. So the purpose is, again, we will give you sound understanding of your basics and a structured approach to solve questions. This really is the key to acing GMAT Quant. I read the responses to Athra's question that what is it about geometry that scares you the most? People said concept, they said application, they said timing. Let me tell you, concepts, this is stage one. When somebody knows the concepts, only then can that person even think about application. If you don't know what A, B, C is, think about spelling cat or bat or mat. You cannot, right? So concepts is where the game begins. Then you learn a correct approach, a structured approach of solving questions. And once this approach becomes a part of you, after enough practice, that is when the timing issue will automatically be sorted. See, think about it. You see a question, you understand the concepts, you know how to apply it. What will you waste time on? You will not. Everything will fall into place perfectly. Now, with this session, I hope we can change a lot of your responses. I'll ask the same question towards the end of the session, and there I'll ask you if your fear has subsided even a bit or not. Here is the progression of the session. So this is very important for everybody to understand. I will first be showing you two data sufficiency questions, 700 plus level. So these will be difficult questions, just two of them, which you will solve only. So what this means is I am not going to discuss the solutions to these right now, not at the beginning. Why? Because these are the questions I want to prepare you for. So starting with difficult questions, the intent is to show you right at the beginning what is it that you're aiming for. Where are you going to reach after this session? Now the progression of the session will help you reach there. Just see how. Step one, we will warm up. Warm-up questions will be 500 to 600 level questions, easy questions, 5 of them. So you do a question, we discuss. You do a question, we discuss the solution. Through these 5 questions, we will revise the concepts that we need today. So instead of giving you concepts, just a theory, this is how this happens, this is how that happens, I will show that to you in questions. Then the first sprint will have 3 questions, 650 to 700 level. Both of these sprints have the same level, roughly around the same level. This is where you will be applying the concepts that you learn here. So these will not be straight conceptual questions like the warm-up ones are. These will involve some skills. You'll have to make a figure, you'll have to understand more things, you'll have to infer stuff, you'll have to use the process skills to do these. Again, you will do a question, we will discuss the solution, and the same thing will happen for sprint 2. Through these 3 intermediate sections, I will prepare you for these 2 challenge questions that we begin with. And sprint 3 here then is the same 2 questions that we had just shown you in the beginning, that we will just be showing you. Here we'll discuss the solutions in detail. I hope everybody is super clear about how this is going to progress. Please answer in the yes/no poll if you're absolutely clear about how this is going to work. Great, thank you, thank you. Next up, we are ready for what? We are ready for stage 1, the 2 hard questions. Get your pens, your papers out. GMAT style questions, 700 level. The first question is going to be up here. Now, a certain thing that I want to tell before we begin is this. Give me one moment. Okay. So you see this here, the mark your answer board that I just brought in. This has 5 options and then still solving. I see a lot of you already know what this is. So still solving tells me that you guys are ready for the question. And then when you start marking your answers, the moment 70 to 80% of you already mark your answer, I will move on to the next one. So this way the session is, the pace of the session is decided by you guys. So since we have still solving by everybody here, we are ready to begin. Here is question number 1. Good luck, everyone. people work with this. There's a small miss. We intend to have rectangle A and rectangle B. So wherever you see S and R, that is also A and B. That the only error is here in the question statement. Please excuse us for that. This S is actually A, R is B, and this here is also B. I'm sorry, S is B and R is A. I would just type that somewhere. S is B and R is A. Thank you. Ten seconds for this one to go. I will then move to the next question. I will show you the next one. Please put in your answers if anybody has not yet done that. 3, 2, 1. And here we move to question number 2. Challenge question number 2. Good luck for this one. Again, we will start with still solving first. Everybody. To still solving. I want to see that people are ready. I just have 60 votes yet. Still solving tells me that you people are ready to solve this question and still not thinking about the previous one. We have 70. Come on, everybody should be ready for this one. to go. After that, we will move to the warm-up section as the progression was already told to you. Please put in your answers in case you're not done. 4, 3, 2, 1. And I'm going to end the poll here. Okay. Now it's time for the warm-up section. Let me just show you the instructions for the same and what it is all about. So as I already told you, warm-up section, it will be easy questions, 500 to 600 level questions, where we will learn the basics on quadrilaterals. And what else? We will have, we will discuss the solutions, one solution after one question, just each of these, in fact, the warm-up, the sprints, we are going to discuss the solution immediately after you're done with your question. Now, I'm going to bring in the first question after this instruction slide. Again, you have 5 questions, and each question after you attempt them, same rules, you will still be selecting still solving. I will open the poll here, and please mark still solving to tell me that you're ready for this one. And then only will I show you the first question. Yes, okay, we have 68 votes. Meanwhile, you can also tell me in the short answer pod, how did you find the previous questions, the last 2 questions? Did you find them difficult, very difficult, or easy, or fairly easy? Answer that. Meanwhile, others who still have not marked still solving, please mark that and then respond. All right, we have a lot of very difficult, tough. One person says easy, one confusing, okay, too wordy. Trapezium was confusing. Okay, we have a huge majority that says the questions are difficult and very interesting, quite challenging, half solved. So great then. We are up for something very interesting. If this is the goal of the session, then my aim will be to have all of you do these correctly when we come back to them. So we have 85 people who've said still solving. So I would see 85 people. Ready? I am now going to show you something, but yes, I hope you have your pen and paper ready. You will need everything here. Question number, all right, here I see some comments in the Q&A pod. Whenever I ask you a question, the answers have to be in the short answer pod where you see answer Shweta's question. The Q&A pod is for questions when you have, doubts or when you're not very sure about something in the solution. All right, question number 1 is up here. Let's get started. Good luck. before we start discussing the solution? Please put in your answers if you're still not done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And here I end the poll. All right, so we have a huge percentage. Let me broadcast your results so you can see what you guys have marked. Here you go. You see there is a 66% vote for option E, which is the correct answer. So very happy you all of you got this easy question right. Let's just hope to attain this level of accuracy on the hard ones as well. Let's discuss the solution, and for those who did not get this right, let's get this in. What do we have for a rectangle whose two adjacent sides are consecutive integers? Between 1 and 4, the perimeter is P, area is A. Which of the following is true? Now here consecutive integers between 1 and 4. Here's an important point. When I say integers between something, never include the integers themselves. So it will not include 1 and 4 itself. Not relevant to quadrilaterals alone. This is something which will be valid throughout quant, and it's a common doubt people ask. Unless the question itself says 1 and 4 inclusive, you will not include them. Now, which are two consecutive integers between 1 and 4? It is 2 and 3. So that means our adjacent sides are 2 and 3. Here's 2, and the one adjacent to this is 3. So this is what your rectangle is. Now our question is about area and perimeter. Let's see. Let's find out the perimeter first. Now what is perimeter? Perimeter of a rectangle whose length is L and whose width is W is going to be 2 times L plus W. It really is nothing but the sum of all the sides. So it's the length of the entire boundary. So all you have here is 2 plus 3 plus 2 plus 3. So I have a pair really. I have 2 plus 3 written twice. So I'm multiplying 2 plus 3 by 2. That makes it 2 times 5, and my perimeter is 10. So I've already found one thing. Another thing was area. Let's see what we have about that now. Here you go. Area of a rectangle, length L, width W is given by the formula LW. So it's the product of those two. So in our case, my length and width, the two dimensions I have are 2 and 3. So the product is 6. Now the question was, which of the following is true? Here are your options. All you had to do here, if you see the options, is compare area with perimeter. And since area 6 is indeed less than perimeter 10, option E is the correct answer. With this, we're done with the first warm-up question with a very high accuracy of 66%. Next up will be warm-up question number 2. I will just reopen the poll, and I want to see all your still solving to tell me that you're ready for this one. Make this very interactive. We have 139 people here, and I just have 80 votes here in still solving yet. Everybody participate to make best use of the session here. Good luck. Please put in your answers if you're still not done. Make sure you participate throughout in all of this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And here I end the poll. So let me broadcast the results again. Just see how this group has voted. You see a huge majority again went with option E. 65% of you marked E, and E is the correct answer. Now let's all discuss the solution together so that the remaining 35% is also with us. Here we start. What is the question? Let's read that first. Rectangles A and B have the same perimeter, so the same boundary. Then they've told us something about rectangle A. Its length is 10 and its area is 250. Okay. Then about rectangle B, all we know is the width and we want to find the area. Well, you know, area is length times width. So I somehow want to find the length of rectangle B. Now, after I've understood the question, let's move on. Let's work piece by piece on a question. That's the approach you should apply. Here now, firstly, I'll work with the rectangle I know something about. I have a lot of information about this one. I know the length is 10. I know the area is 250. Now, the formula for the area of a rectangle is what? It's length times width. So in my case, my 250 here is equal to 10 times width. Simple, you solve, you get the width as 25. So now you know everything about rectangle. You know the length, you know the width. Now we have this very important piece that A and B have the same perimeter. So I want to do something about the perimeter. So I'll first find the perimeter of rectangle A. Well, now that I know the sides of A, I know the width is 25, I know the length is 10. How do I get the perimeter again? This is the formula. It was 2 times length plus width. You apply that simple formula, you get perimeter of 70. Now this has to be the perimeter of rectangle B as well, since they are the same. But I don't know the length here, I only know the width. Well, what you have to do is you will assume something to be the length. So you will say, suppose the length of rectangle B is L. I don't know the value, but I'm just calling it something. In that case, the formula for perimeter, 2 times length plus width, will be this. But this is equal to 70 since it is the same, and I got this 70 here. So this arrow here shows you that you're using the same value. Now this is a simple equation. You solve it and you get the length of rectangle B as well. So that was the only thing we were missing, right? We already had the width, we wanted the length. Now finally, area of B. How do we find the area of a rectangle? You know that is equal to length times width. So 28 times 7, the answer is 196. So that is how 66% of you got this answer correct. The first two warm-up questions here really helped you do what? The first one just straight away asked you to calculate area and perimeter of a rectangle. So you revised, now you remember the formula very well if it was rusted. The second one here tells you that what do you do if area is already given to you? Can you get any of the dimensions? Yes. So here again, it was area and perimeter. We used the same two things, but we saw how we can, be given any two things and get the third thing. Now, before I move on to warm up question number 3, I again will clear the answers here in our answer board, and I want answers for still solving to show me that all of you are ready. The poll is now open. In quick responses now, I will now bring in question number 3. Good luck, everyone. Before I end the poll, please put in your answers if you're still not done. 3, 2, 1, and here I end the poll. Let me broadcast the results. We have an even higher accuracy this time. Wow, you guys are on a roll. So the correct answer is C, and the percentage of you who marked C is 71%. That's huge. Great. I'm happy to see that so many of you are clear with how trapezoids work. Firstly, before I move on with this one, I'm going to ask you a simple question. How many of you, or if you were confused between trapezoid and trapezium? Did you know they were the same? I am opening the yes no poll. Tell me if you did know they were the same. Who say that they did know it was the same, and a lot who said they did not know that. So a 70 to 30 result is what I have. So 30% of you did not know it was the same. It's a common error. You know why people think so? They compare it with a cube and a cuboid. So they think a cube and cuboid. Okay, what are those two things? Those are 3D things. So cuboid gives them a feeling of a 3D thing. So they assume that the trapezoid is a 3D version of a trapezium. Are you one of those people, the ones who did not know this is how this works? I will clear the answers and tell me if you are one of those people who thought a trapezoid. If you did not think so, even though you didn't know they were the same, but this was not the confusion. I'm glad this was not the confusion. Well, with that set, everything ready here, let's move to discussing the solution for this one. So what is our question here again? We have a figure given to us. AE and BF are perpendicular to CD. Perpendicular means this angle here is going to be 90 degrees. Area of rectangle ABEF is 64. We just learned how to find the area of a rectangle in the previous questions. Now we have that in application. Now AB is 8, okay, CD is 12, which is the whole of this, and we want the area of the trapezoid. Well, what can I do when there's so much given in a question? I should always start with what is given to me. What I know, then I'll see what I can do with it, right? So here what I'm given is the area of my rectangle. Let's see what I can do with that. Look, area of a rectangle is length times width. So in my case, it's going to be AB here times AE. So the two dimensions I'm multiplying here. And the area is 64. Now you already know AB is 8. So if you put the value of 8 here in place of AB, this is what you see. You solve this and you get the value of AE as well, which is the height of the trapezoid. AE or BF, both of them are going to have the same values. It is going to be the height of the trapezoid. Now with that said, once I know the height, I should also know the formula of the area of the trapezoid. How do I get the area? Well, the area of a trapezoid is calculated using this formula here. So it is half multiplied by sum of parallel sides multiplied by height. So in this trapezoid, you see there are two sides which are parallel. Which ones are those? It's AB and CD. So you add them, so AB plus CD, and you multiply this with the height, which was AE. Just plugging in those values, you just put in the values and you get the answer, which is 80 centimeters squared, option C. I hope everyone is super clear with the solution for this one. I will clear the answers here. I want all your still solving responses so that I can show you the next solution. Of you who've said they're ready. Are the others not ready for the next question? Show me that you are by marking still solving. Question number 4 to you. Here you go. Good luck. Figure for this one. I see the confusion. E indeed lies on AB as the figure shows. So trust what you see in the figure here. We are sorry about this one here. Thank you. Before I end the poll, please put in your answers. Last 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and here I end the poll. Let me show you the results first. What is it and how is it that you people have voted? So you see, this time it was really divided. The majority, not a huge majority though, went with option B, 38%. And then we had 2%, 14%, and the next highest was option E. Okay. Now you'd be surprised, the correct answer for this is B, but you see how the accuracy has dropped. Now there could be many reasons for this. Help me understand this. My first question to you is, please answer in the short answer pod. Is it the formula of the area of a triangle that you did not know, or was it the ratio? What exactly was what was confusing about this one? Is about the ratio here. Okay. Most of the people found a problem with the ratio. The point E thing, yes, I corrected that. I'm sorry about that. The figure had to be trusted, but I see the main reason here was ratios. So I will make sure I stress on that a little more than the rest of it. So since everybody here was comfortable with the formula for area of a triangle, you know that for that I need base and height. It's half times base times height, but I don't see any height here in this triangle. So my step one would be to bring in that height. So step one here is to draw perpendiculars. So I'm drawing it for both of these triangles, even though I just have to work with this one on the right, GEB. So GN here is the height of that triangle. Now area is half into base into height. I really don't know the base. I don't know EB yet. I don't know GN yet. So there's a lot I have to do. I have to use the area of the rectangle. I have to use the ratio somehow to get these values. Let's see what I can do. Firstly, area of the rectangle. You already know that. We've done that a lot. It's length times breadth or width. In my case, if this is the big rectangle, then AB here multiplied by CB here will give me the area. This is 84. Now I don't know the values specifically, but I know the area that the product of these two is 84. Now comes the ratio part. Listen very carefully to this. What I have is 3 times AE is equal to 4 times EB. I can write this like this. AE upon EB is equal to 4 upon X. Now, whenever you have a ratio like this, a 4 upon 3 fraction, it need not actually be these values. It's not necessary that AE was 4 and EB was 3. You know, AE and EB could have some common factors which just got cancelled. Now that common factor I'm calling x. So AE was 4x, EB was 3x. Then whenever somebody writes it as a fraction, it would be 4x upon 3x, which when you simplify, it really is 4 upon 3. Now, according to that, the whole of AB is how much? 4x plus 3x, 7x, right? Now, why am I doing this? Because AB is here, the length of my rectangle, and I was really trying to find things I could put into this so that I could get some values out of this 84. Now, when I write these two things together, focus here, I have AB times CB. In place of AB, I'm now writing 7x. So 7x times CB is 84. This helps me write CB in terms of X. I'll be opening the yes/no poll here. Please tell me if everybody is clear with this. I'm asking specifically because we had a lot of confusion about the ratio. Few were now very comfortable. I hope the other percent, okay, we're getting that higher and higher. So the remaining 6% also gets comfortable very soon. Now that I know CB in terms of X, let me see what I can do to get the area of the triangle. Well, area of the triangle, half times base times height. My base is EB, which I already know now. It is 3x. And now I also know CB. Now, CB and GN are the same, right? This is how this has been constructed. This is a 90-degree angle, and so is this angle here. This B, because the whole thing was a rectangle. So GN and CB are the same. That means if CB is 12 over x, then the height that I was looking for is also 12 over x. Then simply put it in the formula, half base height. You cut out the x's. This one is in the denominator. This one is in the numerator. You get 18 square units. So I'll be reopening the poll yet again. Please tell me if the solution is absolutely clear to all of you. Okay, we are responding very prompt answers here. So everybody here is ready. I will now bring in the normal poll. I will clear out the answers. You will have to tell me if you're ready for the next one by clicking on still solving. There you go. Ready for the next one? Keep the energy levels high. 5 for all of you. Good luck. Please put in your answers. I'll be ending the poll in 3, 2, 1, and done. All right, I will broadcast the results. All of you should see what you've marked. Here you go. So we have again a huge majority with option B, 56%. Not really huge, but yes, fair enough, more than half. And yes, B is the correct answer. Let's straight get to solving this one. We already had something about trapezoid before this, so it's not the first time we're seeing it. Question says square ABCD of side 15 and trapezoid PQRS have the same area. So there's something we have to do about their areas. Then PQ and RS are given. So these are some sides from the trapezoid. I'm not really sure unless, I get the figure ready. So that is step one you should do. You should draw figures in geometry. You should visualize. That'll help you see what's happening better. And then we want the height of the trapezoid. Okay, let me just draw all of this. Look here. This is the square ABCD side 15. This is the trapezoid PQRS. PQ was 20, RS was 25, and the height PE is what we have to find out, right? Now let's see. We already know that the areas are equal, so we first have to find the areas for both of them and then we'll equate it. Area of a square is side times side. Well, this is not any different from what you had for rectangles. In case you're wondering, we never had squares before. It's the same thing. Every square is a rectangle. It's a special rectangle. So you're just multiplying length and width. You get 225 square units. For the trapezoid now, you already know the formula from the previous questions. You'll just plug in the values that you know. So the parallel sides 20, 25, add them, you get this. Now, when I work further on this and I equate these two areas, because I know they are equal, I get this here. 225 is equal to half times 45 times PE. Now, simple equation, you solve and you get the value of PE, which is the height that you were looking for, as 10. So the correct answer here is option B, which is 10. Now at this with this question we are done with the warm-up section. We're all warmed up now. Before we move, here is something that you have to keep in mind. You have to be 200% confident about your concept. If there's any little lag here, if there's even a little that you miss here, you will find it hard to do GMAT-like questions. Why? Because GMAT tests a much higher level application of these. It's a much advanced level of application than what you saw in the warm-up questions. The warm-up questions were intended to give you all the concepts that we need. The goal again, remember, is to solve those two challenge questions we had seen in the beginning. So there's no scope of you having any confusions about this. So I'll open the yes no poll here. Please tell me if you feel very, very confident about these now, about all the warm-up questions and about your concept. Percent of you saying yes, you're now confident about this. That gives us a great start, and I hope you're all ready for our next leg of the session, which is sprint 1. Now before I show you the question yet again, you know the rules. I'll just open the poll. You have to tell me you're ready by clicking on still solving. There you go. This is what the session is supposed to be like. Here's question 1 for you. Good luck, everyone. Responses last 5 seconds before I end the poll. I'll be ending the poll in 3, 2, 1, and we're done. Okay, let me broadcast the results. There you go. We see 67% of you went with option B, which is the correct answer. So our accuracy is pretty high here. Yes, 60%, I'm sorry, not 67%. 60% of you marked this, B, which is correct. 26% of you were in still solving but never marked the answer. So that is why I call out for the final 5 seconds. Even if you feel you're not completely done with the question, make a nice educated guess. You might have to do that on the exam also sometimes. Think about it. Say you have just the last question and just 10 seconds. Would you just skip it if you're not 100% sure? Never do that. There's a huge penalty for skipping questions, for not doing them. Getting them wrong is still okay. So when I call out for the final timer, make sure you mark the answers. Let's discuss this now, all of us together. We have a EBF perpendicular to CD. Okay, we can see that here. Area of ABEF is 24. Again, area of the rectangle is given to us. And AB is 6, FC is 2. Midpoint of EF is equal to midpoint of CD, area of the trapezoid. So I read some questions about how do we know what if it actually is a trapezoid. Well, in this case, because this is it is a rectangle, inside AB and EF have to be parallel. And because of that, AB and CD have to be parallel as well. So without explicitly stating that it is a trapezoid and which two sides are parallel, because of the rectangle being inside it, we are sure that these two sides are parallel. Now I'll start the solution here piece by piece. First of all, there's something about the midpoint that we know. Midpoint of EF is equal to midpoint of CD. So both of them here, this EF and this CD have the same midpoint. Let's call this point M here. Now, what else can I do? I know the area of the rectangle, which is 24. Now, area of rectangle is length times width. So if the area is 24, and I already know this 6 here, then that means AE has to be 4. Otherwise, you cannot get the product as 24. Now, with this, I know the height of the trapezoid. Next up, ABFE is a rectangle. So then if AB was 6, EF is also 6. Opposite sides of a rectangle are equal, right? Now, very important here, focus. M is the midpoint of EF. I know that, which means MF here will be half of 6. So it's going to be 3 centimeters. But I already know FC is 2. So if this piece is 3, this is 2, then this entire length, this CM, is 5. But since M is also the midpoint of CD, the entire length CD has to be 5 times 2, 10. Okay, so now we know the base of this trapezoid. I have everything to get the area of the trapezoid. Half times sum of parallel sides times the height. Put in the values and the answer is 32. Fairly easy question this is, but this helps you revise again the concepts on trapezoids that we just learned, about their area, and about how this time you had to find the base out through some extra information in terms of the midpoint. Now, before we move on to the next one, tell me how you think the warm-up question has helped you, the warm-up section has helped you solve this one and other warm-up questions. So please answer in the short answer pod if you think that the warm-up questions are leading you in the right direction and slowly building up the it's leading in the right direction, helped me master trapezoid. Wonderful. So many of you feel better about this. Somebody says I'm not warmed up yet. So I hope you will be warmed up. I'm working towards that. All of you should be super happy before the session ends. So in my case here, in this particular question, we are already at 32. Before I show you the next question, again, you know the rules. I am going to clear the answers and open the poll for you so that you can click Still Solving to show me you're ready. prompt just how we all like it. Here is sprint question number 2 for you. Good luck. I'll be ending the poll. Please mark your answers. Ending the poll in 3, 2, 1, and we're done. Let's see the results, everybody. So we have, yes. So 4% went with A, 55% went with B, and 7 and 6 and 7, and then 21% of the still solving people did not mark answers again. So the correct answer is B. This is 55%. Now, in case you find these questions still easy, they still are. We're slowly building up. I don't want the pressure to be too high on you. The session is planned in a way to get you ready for those 2 questions that you said were very, very hard. So trust the process and let's get going. I'm very happy to see the improved accuracies. What do we have here? Equilateral triangle ABC with side 10 has the same area as rectangle DEFG with DE as 3. Find the length of EF. So this is another side of the rectangle. Now in this case, we just have one new thing, an equilateral triangle. Now this is a triangle which has all 3 sides equal. So it's 10, 10, 10 like this. And this is how your rectangle would look with DE as 3 and EF as question mark, which is what I want to find out. Well, now equilateral triangle. See, area of a general triangle is half times base times height. We already know that. So the base here is BC, which is 10, and the height is AE. So this is what the area of this triangle is. Now at this stage, I don't know what AE is yet, right? So here are some properties I'm going to tell you. Property number 1, BE and EC are going to be equal. This is a property that every equilateral triangle has. It's a characteristic property of equilateral triangles that each height bisects the base. So AE here bisects the base. So it's 5 and 5. Now you focus on this triangle, AEB, and you can use the Pythagoras theorem to find out the missing side AE. So we have 5 squared plus AE squared is equal to 10 squared. Simple equation, simple calculations, you get AE as 5 root 3. And the moment you get 5 root 3, of course, that's all you needed for the area. You just put it here in the formula. The area of the equilateral triangle is 25 root 3. Now with this here, it is 25 root 3, but I wanted to, before moving on, tell you that there are set formulas also for when you work with equilateral triangles. It's really helpful. You will not have to do all of this work. So if it's an equilateral triangle of side A, just like this, even now the bisecting the base and all those properties work, the Pythagoras theorem works, but it's a straight formula after these two steps that you can apply to get the height as root 3 by 2a. This then, if this is the height, I put it in the formula, half times base times height, and that gives me root 3 by 4 a squared. Now if somebody knows this formula, just see the side was 10, the area will straight away be 100 multiplied by root 3 by 4. 104 will cancel out to give you 25 root 3. So that's a straightforward way of getting to the area. Now that we know everything about the area, we know that the area was the same for this rectangle as well. So let's work on the rectangle now. Now, area of a rectangle is length times width. So it's EF here times 3. But this is going to be equal to 25 root 3. I know that here. Simple thing, I solve EF is equal to 25 root 3 over root 3, which is what we were looking for. We were looking for EF only. So the correct answer here is option B. Now with this, we are done with the second question of sprint 2 as well. This again, as we see, is high with a high accuracy. We are now seeing more things than we saw earlier. We now have a triangle also. You have some takeaways about the formula for the area of a triangle, and you see how you can compare one area with another. It's time now for question number 3 of the first sprint. Again, I will just clear the answers and open the poll for you. Let's get still solving and then I'll show you the next question. Here's question number 3. Good luck. Please put in your answers. I'll be ending the poll in 3, 2, 1, and we're done. Let's see the results. Okay, so a lot of you were ready for the question but did not mark the answer. 32% of you, maybe you were not very sure of the answer. As I said, give it your best shot. So before I start discussing this one, I'm opening the short answer pod. Tell me what you people know about rhombus. Are we very comfortable with what a rhombus is? Where people say they don't know anything about what rhombus is. Some people say they're equal sides. Yes, well, if you know it's equal sides, there's still something you need to say because equal sides can be a square as well. Can you tell me the difference between a square and a rhombus, if people who know this? A lot of you have forgotten this. Yes, I see that. Difference between a square and a rhombus. That in a square, all the angles are 90 degrees. Each angle, each interior angle is 90, but that is not required in a rhombus. A rhombus is really just a special parallelogram. That is, the opposite sides are parallel, but the specialty here is that all sides are also equal. So we have a lot of answers. A lot of you know about the diagonals bisecting each other, the diagonals not being equal. Good job here. So for those who are not very sure, again, I will go again. Rhombuses are special parallelograms. Their opposite sides are parallel, but in a parallelogram, the only property we have was that opposite sides are equal. Opposite angles are also equal. But in a rhombus, all sides are equal. So that is the added property we have. And all of you, I'm sure, know what a parallelogram is. Now with that, let's start with this one. We have a rhombus whose two diagonals are given to us. We want to find the perimeter of the rhombus. Here's the figure for this one. This is a parallelogram. Well, we have drawn it like this in this kite style, but you could have drawn it straight as well. Any style, any way you want to draw this. Now look here. BD, this here, I'm taking this 8, and AC, I'm sorry, is the other diagonal. I'm taking that as 6. Now there's a very important property here before you move on. Look, perimeter requires you to find the boundary of this rhombus. That means you want to know AB, BC, CD, AD, but you know all of them are going to be the same anyway. So if only you could get one of them, you'll be through. So how do I go from this inside, which is the diagonals, to the outside, which is the side of the rhombus? Well, here you need a simple property which a lot of you wrote in the short answer part. I'm very happy about that. Diagonals of a rhombus are perpendicular bisectors of each other. So they're not just perpendicular. That means not only do they cut each other at 90 degrees, they bisect each other. They divide each other into two equal parts. So this 6 here, this whole 6 should really become 3 and 3. AO is 3, OC is 3. Similarly, this entire 8 here should become 4 and 4. With that, now you have a sweet little triangle with 3 centimeters as AO and 4 centimeters for BO. Now this is 90 degrees because they are perpendicular bisectors. So you can use the Pythagoras theorem here again to find AB, which will be this. 5. Well, you get AB squared first, 25, which means it could be plus 5 or minus 5, but lengths cannot be negative. So the value that we really get for this is 5. Now, if AB is indeed 5, the perimeter is what? It's just 4 times 5. You're just adding 5 4 times. So 20 centimeters here is the perimeter. So the correct answer for this one was option C, and we had 56% accuracy for that. I hope everybody here now is very clear about rhombuses. I'll open the short answer pod. Tell me if rhombus now is clear. You know the difference between rhombus, square, parallelogram. Yeah, and all those quick yeses and happy yeses here. Thank you for that. Now that we're done with sprint one, which was your first practice session, I hope you're already excited for the next one. I will just hand over to Atreya for a bit and then we'll resume with sprint two.
All right, guys, I hope that you people are able to hear me and you people are really enjoying these questions that we are doing over here. Now, to become more effective in solving out these more questions and understand what are the different things that you have to keep in mind, we also open some slots for all of you to book a call with one of our GMAT strategy experts where we talk about what are those metrics that you need to track, what are the estimates that you need to put into to uh, okay, I am seeing some of you are not being able to hear me, so I'll just do this a bit. Yes, I guess that it's now clear. So you can book a one-on-one call with one of our GMAT strategy experts, and he'll guide you through all these milestones, estimates, and metrics that you need to keep in mind for a better preparation in the shortest amount of time. So what I'll do over here is I'll just put in the link for booking a one-on-one call with one of our GMAT strategy experts, and I'll launch that link for all of you. So what you need to do basically is, while you are there at the web page, you just scroll down a bit and we have specified some problem areas for all of you. Now there might be a problem area that resounds, that resonates to one of your problem areas. Choose that tile and then click on help me reach my target score. Now once you do that, there would be a calendly page where you need to check on the date and the time slot that you need to book a call with, and then post that. There would be a questionnaire that you need to fill out for us. Now this question is really very very important because this gives a very clear idea about your candidacy to our e-GMAT mentor. So please ensure that you are well with this and you answer all these questions over here. Now, if you're an e-GMAT student, the previous one was for non-e-GMAT students. If you're an e-GMAT student, everything is on your platform already. You just need to log in into your account and check that out. Please make sure you have a personalized study plan and you understand your personalized study plan in all ways possible. Also, make sure that you attend the onboarding sessions, which happen twice per week, and the test readiness sessions that happen that are scheduled for you, right? Have all the guidance videos for the three stages of learning, because that way you have a very good idea on how to go about your GMAT prep, right? So with that, let's move to sprint 2, and I'll just take one moment and I'll reopen the poll over here. Please mark still solving, and then I'll ask Shweta to come back over here post this.
Well, more votes here. We just have 50 still solving here. We have 122 participants. Come on, show me the energy. Are we all ready for the next leg of this journey? All excited for slightly harder questions now, slightly more application levels. The moment I get 80 to 90 responses, I'm going to show you the next question. So as soon as you do that, I know you're ready. We will move on. All right, we're very close, very close. Come on. More participation. Let's make this very interesting. All right, yeah, we have enough votes now. Here is question number one, sprint two for you. Good luck. I'll be ending the poll then. Please put in your answers if you're still not done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and there we end the poll. Okay, let me broadcast the results. Here you go. So we have 56% of the votes. I'm talking about the majority here for option D, which is correct. Very proud of you people. You already know how percentages work. That means the other sections of quant are all working fine here. Let's discuss the solution to this one together. And everybody who still had a problem with this, we will all be together after we discuss. Here now, length of a rectangle is increased by 80%, width decreased by 50%, then it becomes a square. Oh, so here's the rectangle. My length is x and the width is y. And this is the square that it ultimately becomes because of something that I do I have? Well, look closely. The length was increased by 80%. So then this becomes 18. And the width y, when it is decreased by 50%, then it becomes 18. Now writing that mathematically is this. So the length was x, you increase it by 80%. That means you're adding 80% of x to it, and then it becomes 18. Now 80% is 80 over 100, which is 0.8. So this becomes 8 plus 0.8x equal to 18. Simple equation. You solve this, you get x as 10, which means that was the original length of the rectangle. Similarly, you work with the width as well. You had y. You decrease it by 50%. So it's y minus 50% of y is 18. Now again, 50% can be written as 0.5. You solve this, you get y as well. So that gives us both the dimensions, the length and the width of the rectangle. After that, all we wanted was the perimeter. So that is now straightforward. You know, it's 2 times length plus width. The correct answer here after you solve this will be 92. Option D, as I already told you, is the correct answer. I'll be clearing the answers here. Show me that you're ready by clicking on still solving. There you go. Question number 2 coming up. Good luck, everyone. For this, before I end the poll, please mark your answers. I don't see all of this work going away. 3, 2, 1, and we end the poll. All right, broadcasting the results here. This time it's a really divided vote. Yes, we have the majority with 39% with option C, but you have 11%, 15% with D and E as well. A and B we can see are pretty low. So C, D, and E, we really need to check this. Let's see. Let's see how this is working. All right, we have what all? Area of square ABCD, area of rectangle PQRS, and length of the rectangle is 69% more than the width. Find the ratio of perimeters. Well, by now we are pretty confident with ratio. We had a simpler question earlier. Let's just put everything to application here. What do I have? Here is my square ABCD and here is the rectangle PQRS. Now I know something about the square. The sides of the square have to be equal. So it's y and y. I don't know the value. I'm just giving it a name. I'm calling it y. For the rectangle now, if my width is x, I'm given that the length is 69% more than the width. 69% more than the width means x plus 69% of x. You convert this to decimals and you get x plus 0.69x, which is 1.69x. Now with this, I at least have some assumed values for the dimensions of my square and rectangle. Now, what I know is that the areas are equal. So if I express both of their areas, this is y squared, this is 1.69x squared. If I equate them, this is what I get. Well, now when you take the square root of both sides, you get y equal to 1.3x. Why? Because 13 times 13 is 169. So 1.3 times 1.3 is 1.69. Now, this is something that if you're aware of on the GMAT, you'll be at a huge advantage. So we suggest you remember squares of numbers till at least 20 and cubes till at least 10. That'll really give you an edge over many other people. Now here I have replaced y with 1.3x now that I know what it is in terms of x. I want to find the perimeters, remember the ratio of the perimeters. So if I start doing that, the perimeter of the square is going to be actually 4 times 1.3x because all of them are equal. That is going to be this. Now why I'm leaving it this way is because I will have a 2 coming from here as well. And in ratios, you know, when you want to simplify, you anyway want to cancel out common factors. So you leave it here as 2 times length plus width, 2 times 2.6. From the rectangle side now, perimeter is 2 times x plus this, which is this much. Now, ratio of the perimeters. Now, very important here that you see what ratio do you want, what term do you want first. So it's square and then the rectangle. That means this thing comes in the numerator and this thing comes in the denominator. The square comes first. Now, if you simplify this, you will be able to cancel out the 2's to get 2.6 and 2.69. Of course, you also cancel out the x's. Now, 2.6 is the same as 2.60. So then both of them have just 2 digits after the decimal. You remove the decimal and your answer is 260 over 269, which is, sorry, the wrong thing is highlighted. 260 over 269 is option C. And the accuracy percentage that we had for that, as you see, is 39%. So it was a bit lower than what we had on the other questions. I would like to understand what the reason for that was. Why do you think this question was tougher than the others? The short answer pod is results. So you see how so many people have taken the wrong ratio, the ratio in the wrong order. You see, the exam is super smart. They know the kind of errors we make. So they'll always know that, okay, this is what people do. They invert the ratio. Let me give them both the options. Imagine option D was not even there. then you would have definitely looked at it again and marked C only. Okay, these are the numbers at least that I have. So this one simple error, one careless error, not reading carefully took you wrong. And then there are some answers about square root as well. Taking the square root at the first stage, that is when you got 1.3. Now, both these things together made this slightly tricky. So here the takeaway that you have is be very careful when you're working with ratios. It's a common trap. People do fall into this and get questions wrong. Now at this stage we are ready for question number 3 of the sprint. I will clear the responses and open the poll. Please mark still solving. Just have 64 people who say they're ready. We have double the number of people in this session actually. Everybody should be ready for the next question. Just say this, bring it on. And that's how you say it, by clicking on still solving. You don't really get to say bring it on otherwise, right? Okay, we have a good number of votes now. Here's question number 3. Good luck, everyone. I'll be ending the poll. Please put in your responses. 3, 2, 1, and we're done. Okay, let's broadcast the results. So we see the majority is 59% or higher again. We're again on the high side. 59% of you went with option D and very low percentages for the other ones. We still have a sufficient percentage of people who stay in still solving and never mark an answer. Make this a habit. If you're running out of time, mark something. If you even take away this from the session, it'll be a big win for us. It's a big problem people have. Let's discuss this. So, a border of uniform width. Well, if you saw this question, you must have realized we are now getting closer and closer to those two starting questions. We had something to do with borders there. This is a simpler version of that. So, a border of uniform width is placed around a square photograph. The photograph has a side of S and the big square is this. Well, with just this much, with these two sentences, it could look weird. It's like, oh, I don't know what's really happening. Well, then again, you use the skill, the process skill of visualize. You draw the figure so that you can see things in action. Here is that sweet figure. We have the square here, the orange photograph with side S, and the big square as it is said, which is the photograph plus the border. The side is S plus 2n. So this is S plus 2n, this is S plus 2n. Find the area of the border. So all you need is this blue area here, just the border, just how much the frame is really. Now what I have to do for that is, think about it. Area of the border, the blue portion, is what? It's area of the big square minus area of the small square. So if I take the whole big square, then I'll include the blue part and the orange part. But I don't want the orange part, so I subtract it. Now area of the big square is S plus 2n squared, because that's the side, and this is S squared, and I am subtracting it. Well, I have to find what this is. So I don't really have numbers, so obviously my answer will be in terms of S and N only. Now what do I do here? I need an algebraic identity at this stage. Are you people comfortable with algebraic identities? Tell me how many identities you know in the short answer pod. Main identities: a plus b whole squared, a minus b whole squared, and a squared minus b squared. Very glad there are some people who know 5. That means you know the cubing identities also, which are not very often used, but it's never a problem to know more. So very happy. Now here you use the algebraic identity to expand s plus 2n whole squared. So that's a squared, which is s squared, plus b squared. B is the entire 2n, so when you square that, you get 4n squared plus 2 times a times b. So when you write that, it's 2s times 2n, and s squared is what it was. Now here, this is s squared plus 4n squared plus 4sn minus s squared. Now here, when you simplify this, you will see you can cancel out s squared and s squared because it's positive and negative. So it's like 2 minus 2 is 0. That's obvious, right? Here now, you add them, the remaining items that you had, which were just 4n squared plus 4sn. Now, this itself could have been the answer. This is the stage when you look at the options. When you don't know how far to go with your simplification, don't just overdo things because you think it's not completely done. Look at the options and take hint from them. See if you even need to do any more stuff. Right? So here what I did here was this taking common. One moment, please. Somehow I don't see the icon for shifting the slide. Atreya, could you please look into this? I don't see the next slide option. Yes, thank you. So here, when I see the options, I did not see my 4n squared plus 4sn anywhere. That is why I took this common. I took 4n, which was a common factor in both these terms. I took that out. From the first one, n was left, and from the second one, s was left. The answer is D. I'm sorry about this dog outside. Probably he's just hungry. Ah, I love them. Well, D is the correct answer. The accuracy you see here is 60%, pretty high again. That means we're all comfortable with borders now. At this stage, we are ready now. All of us are ready to go into those two challenge questions. So I'll clear answers here. Tell me, what are your big takeaways? What do you think now you know that you didn't know in the beginning, and now therefore you can solve those challenge questions? The short answer pod is open. What are your takeaways still here? Things you didn't concept. Some of us found out more about trapezoids, some of us found out about ratios, and you became a better drawer. Okay, you could draw figures better, you now calculate properly. There's loads that we're taking, nice revision. Okay, some people are taking nothing, that means your concepts were anyway wonderful. So I just hope you get everything correct now that you see those questions. It's great that clarification is you're now more clear about things. So I'll clear the responses here. Please click on still solving to tell me that you're ready for the Sixty-eight, 117 participants. Just 68 people are ready for the challenge. Take up the challenge. You will be happy to see how the accuracy rates change. You have to show me the energy for that. All right, great. Percentages and numbers have increased now. We're ready for sprint 3, which are those two challenge questions. I'll be showing you the first question here. Good luck, everyone. Please put in your answers. Seconds. Please put in your answers. 3, 2, 1, and there we end the poll. Okay. Well, the accuracy here did not improve as much as I had expected, but you see the vote is super divided. It's absolutely constant between B and C. B is in fact slightly lower than C, and B is the correct answer. So there could be multiple reasons for this, that the concepts that we did, we're still not 100% sure of the concepts, or when it came to applying it under pressure, we just could not work really well. Do you think it was the timing that was a problem, or do you think there were still some concepts you're not very sure of? Please answer in the short answer pod. Why do you think the vote is so divided? Why were you not very sure with this? People saying that it was timing. Okay, so had the timing been there, you would have done better. Pressure, okay, because you already knew this was a challenge question. Options were not visible. Well, a data sufficiency question always has the same 5 options, so that is why we didn't keep them. And we know, you should actually remember those options by heart, so you don't even have to read them in the exam. But for the purpose of the session, yes, thank you that we take that as a feedback. We will include options next time for sure. But remember, you have to know the options by heart. So you were not very sure, some people were not very sure how to approach the question, some difficulty in the statements, some people said it's very easy. So we have a huge, just what we expected from the polling results. The answers here, the responses here are divided. I get a lot of different kinds of results here. Now, this one, therefore, I'll be spending time discussing this. Now, discussing this I will keep asking you questions at every stage. I want you to be super comfortable with this. I'm bringing in the yes no poll here. So I'll ask you at every stage, is this clear? Is that clear? I want wonderful participation here, because that is what will drive me in this session. I'll know where to focus, I'll know where not to focus, I'll know what to stress on. So here, if we see this question, we have again the same thing that we already talked about, a border of some width, uniform width, placed around a rectangle to create a bigger rectangle. So there is something we have to do about the border thing, which we practiced in the previous question as well. This time it's one rectangle and another rectangle over that. And again, uniform width. So let's just first bring in the figure for this. This is how it's going to look, right? And the question also tells us, the question stem also tells us that the difference between the perimeters is 32 units. Difference between perimeters means what? One perimeter minus the other. So perimeter of the big rectangle minus perimeter of the small rectangle. That's all you have to do to get the difference, right? Now, how do you find them? Focus on the figure first. Let me explain that to you. So the smaller rectangle, rectangle A, has L and W as its dimensions. If the width is x, then that means this here is x, this is x, this here is also x, and on the left it's also x. So the border is throughout x units. Now with that, what does the length of the big rectangle become? Focus. This one, the small length was L. Now you've added an x on its right side and you've added x on its left side. So you've added two x's to it, which means the length of the big rectangle becomes L plus 2x. Now tell me, how many of you had a tough time finding out this, figuring out how to express both of them in terms of just 2 dimensions? Was this a problem area? Mark yes if this was a problem area for you. that 34% of the people, 37, that's growing higher and higher. I'll end the poll to get a reasonable answer here. So 37% of you thought that yes, that was the problem, figuring out how to connect the smaller rectangle to the bigger one. Now with that, one kink is out of the system. There is something a little more smooth that you now feel about this. So L plus 2x is this. Similarly, if the width of the inside rectangle is W, you will add an x on top and an x at the bottom to get W plus 2x as the width of the big rectangle. With that, now I'm ready to write down their perimeters, which is the total boundary. Now, 32 is the difference. I'm given that. Perimeter of the big rectangle is 2 times length plus width, where length is L plus 2x, width is W plus 2x. And for the small one, 2 times L plus W. You just simplify this, you get the value of x as 4. So this question stem alone was sufficient to give you the exact width of the border. So I will reopen the poll. Tell me how many of you had reached this stage. So did you reach the value of x? What percentage got here? Had approximately 37-38% people who could not draw the figure properly. You see a parallel result here of how many people got to x. That means that I can fairly infer that people who did know how to draw the figure did not find a problem with this analysis, getting the perimeter right. So if you know this, you would know this and you would get x. Another question to you, everybody, this is only for those people who did not know the figure part. I ask you, if you knew how to draw the figure, would you have gotten this much? Would you have gotten x equal to 8 then? I mean x equal to 4. Percent of the people say that had the figure been fine, I would have managed the value of x. There are still some people who say, no, the figure was not the problem. Even if I had the figure, I would not be able to reach x equal to 4. For you guys, I'm opening the short answer pod. Tell me, what is it that is difficult in going from the figure to this analysis? This is only for the people who responded that even with the figure, they will not be able to get the value of x. Please tell me. Order is not 2. We found the value of x as 4. Look here. We have, if the inside length is L, you have x here on the left of it, and you have x here on the right of it. Tell me what's x plus x. X plus x is 2x, right? So from the small one, we're adding 2x to get this. So you completely ignore the perimeter information and skip the option. Yes, well, it's very important that you read every bit in the question, in the statements, and use it. Nothing is just given to you just for the sake of it. Just value every piece of information, work with it, infer as much as you can. So there are two skills here at play. You had to really be able to visualize the figure properly. Without it, nothing is going to happen. And you have to infer everything you get from the question to move on. Now with this stage, I will move to the next leg of the question. This is all that the question stem really gave me. So it's time I move to analyzing statement number 1. Let's see that. Here's statement 1. Area of the border is 72 square units. Well, area of the border, we had a similar question in sprint 2. It means the blue region, which is big rectangle minus small rectangle. Now, how many? I will reopen the poll. Please tell me if you are one of those people who thought this statement is sufficient. 8 people thought this was sufficient, from the ones, of course, the votes that I have, but most people could tell that this is not sufficient. Good going then. I will tell you here, let's discuss this statement properly. Well, area of the border you already know is the area of the big rectangle minus that of the small rectangle. The big rectangle, well, now that I know the value of x, just see how I've simplified my figure further. It's L plus 2x, right? That is what it was, and x was 4. So this becomes L plus 8. There's 4 on the right, 4 on the left. Similarly, 4 below it, 4 above it to turn your W into W plus 8. Now with that, if I write down the big rectangle minus small rectangle and a simplify, this is the relationship I get. Well, this is something with L, W, a sum, some constants. What is it that I wanted? Focus on that. It's the area of the big rectangle of B. I'm very happy we had corrected the wordings here, the naming. So the area of the big rectangle is L plus 8 times W plus 8. Now L plus 8 times W plus 8 does not really match what we have here. How do I see something like this? Well, I multiply this in. This becomes LW plus 8L plus 8W plus 64. Yes, I see a part of it, but I don't see the whole of it. What part do I see? It's this much, this green part here. So essentially what I want to find out, I have a part of it that this much is 72. So my value will really be LW plus 72. Do you know the product of LW? You don't. That means even after having this much, you don't know something that you wanted. So statement 1 alone is insufficient. Now please tell me if statement 1 is absolutely clear to everybody in the yes/no pod. The people, 91% of the people, 94, okay, great, it's growing higher and higher, are comfortable now with how this is not sufficient. Now there are still some confusion how you got L plus 8. Well, L plus 2x was what I had here. I've just put the value of x here, which was 4. Now moving on to statement number 2. Okay, B can also be obtained if each of the longer sides of A is increased by 80% and the shorter sides is increased by 100%. Now there's some important information here. Focus on this. B can also be obtained if. Why are we saying also? Well, because we already know one way of obtaining B. What is that one way? That one way is that you have rectangle A inside. Just put a border on it. You're going to have rectangle B. So we already know one way. Another way is to increase the longer side by 80% and the shorter side by 100%. Let's see what that means for us. Look, the length of A is L, the width is W. If I'm increasing the length, the longer side, by 80%, I get L plus 80% of L. We've seen questions like this. You add this, you get 1.8 L. Similarly, when you increase the width by 100%, it becomes this much. You simplify, it's 2W. Well, if this is also rectangle B, then the length, this one, 1.8L, has to be equal to the length I know from the border discussion. It has to be equal to L plus 8. Similarly, the width, 2W, that I get here, has to be equal to the width I had in the border discussion again. So solving that, see what I have. 1.8L is equal to L plus 8. I really get the value of L. Similarly, 2W is equal to W plus 8. I get the value of W again. Now, if I know L and W both, can I not find what I wanted to find out? L plus 8 times W plus 8. I have the values. So this statement is sufficient. I'm opening the yes/no poll. Please tell me if this is absolutely clear, how statement 2 is sufficient. know that statement 2 is sufficient. I know that the correct answer for this is option B. It's sufficient alone. Now with this, we're done with sprint 1, question 1. Before moving on in the short answer pod, tell me now that you know the solution, what was it that you had done wrong in the short answer? Not looked at the question stem properly. Well, you have to really read questions very carefully. Misunderstood the meaning of statement 1 and 2. That's again something about reading something so carefully, understanding every word means what. Some people did not calculate the value of x. See, that was something you were getting from the question stem itself. That means you moved to the statements without even working completely with the question stem. What does that mean in real life? It's like you have a lot of candies on your way. You did not even pick up the candy right next to you and you went to the next one on the next floor. You climbed stairs for the other one. Well, you're missing so much from where you started. In the real world, you miss some candies, it's okay. But here on the GMAT, you miss some information, you get the wrong answers. Miss nothing. You have to be super careful about it. You missed one leg, you missed one perimeter. Yeah, so you didn't extract the entire meaning, which is infer as much as you can. Use a piece of information completely before you move on to the next one. Is the strategy clear to everybody? Will this mistake never happen again? Please tell that to me in the yes no part. To learn how to apply those concepts correctly. If you just leave pieces of information and move on, you're gonna mess up. Visualizing is super important. That was another skill we talked about. Without the figure, this is not moving on. Use every piece of information. Translate information from English to math. There's a lot of English here in statement 2. But see how when we changed it to math, it was so easy to digest. Translation is another key skill. So you have all of these process skills that you can use to bridge the gap between your concepts and application. A lot of you here know the concepts, but when it comes to applying, you get confused. And the reason for that is simple. We're just not thinking properly. We're not using these skills properly. With this now, I'll bring in the question poll again. Please mark still solving the once the poll is open to show me that you are ready for the second challenge. Just have 60 people who say they're ready. And we have a lot more people in the group here right now. A lot of people studying with you. Show the energy. Come on. Let's get ready for the last one. Okay. All right. There we have it. Sprint 3, challenge question number 2. Let's go. Reference. So all those people who struggled because of options in the previous one, you have the options here for this one. Please put in your answers. Five, four, three, two, one, and we're done. Okay, let's discuss this one. Well, again, before I start, I want to know what do you think was your problem from this one, the first time you had attempted it, and what do you think is something you know now that you didn't know earlier in the short answer pod? Good. Better drawing, you could figure out. Okay. Visualization is easier now. Very nice. You had more time to solve this time. Yes. All right. Area of a trapezoid was clear now. Wonderful. So you can see how the pieces from the session are coming together for this one question. So because of that, the accuracy has indeed improved. We had a 15% accuracy earlier, and now it's a 40% accuracy. So the improvement is there, but not as huge as we had expected. Now let's see why. We will completely keep this interactive again. I will ask you a lot of questions and you will have to continuously keep telling me if you're comfortable with every stage of explanation that I give you. So I will open the poll after my first question. Let's start discussing this. What do we have? We have a trapezoid ABCD of area 39 square inches, which is placed inside a rectangle PQRS such that AB is parallel to PQ, and more information. I don't want to read the whole thing. You know, this is how you should be doing it as well. If you've read just the first sentence of the question, you already have some information to turn to a diagram, to a figure. So start doing that right in the beginning. But yes, in the beginning, you don't have much except the fact that AB is parallel to PQ. You will not know how to place it. So you keep getting more and more information later on, but you have a rough skeleton of what the figure is going to look like. Now, vertices A and B of the trapezoid are 1 inch away from each of the two nearest sides. Each of the two nearest sides. If you look at vertex A, which are the two nearest sides? We have PS and SR. So vertex A is 1 inch away from each of them. So this is also 1 and this is also 1. Same thing for B. This is also 1 and this one here is also 1. Well, when you talk about C and D, it says they're 1 inch away from the nearest side. Not each of the two nearest sides, but just the nearest side. So D and C both have PQ closest to them. So it's 1 inch away, which means this thing here is 1. Now this is all we have from the figure. First question, mark yes if you got the figure correct. You got this figure correct, but 40% did not. Now that I've explained this again, another question is now everybody clear with this? So mark yes if you're now clear with this figure. Percent now, 80%. Okay, we have a certain bunch who's still not comfortable. So first of all, tell me, the people who now understood it but had not understood earlier, what was it that you had missed in the short answer pod? What is it that you people had missed in drawing the figure? Part is confusing. Yes, this requires a careful read. Each of the two nearest. So there are two nearest sides. It has to be 1 inch away from both of them. We see the same. Okay, many people are saying this. Wonderful. Then now that you've seen this, you understand how every single word counts. How when you did not have each in the second case, you had to just work with one nearest side, and how when you did have each, you had to work with both of the nearest sides. So everything here is important. Now with this figure ready, let's just see what the first statement, what the question stem is telling us, what more we can do. Basically, we haven't yet done anything about the area of the trapezoid. Formula for area, half into sum of parallel sides into height. So I've drawn here in yellow the height so you can see it clearly. Well, 39 is the area. The parallel sides are AB and CD and the height is H. I don't know the values of any of them. I don't know AB, I don't know CD, I don't know H. So the question stem is just this one green boxed statement that I'm not very sure how to use yet. There are just too many unknowns here. Well, when you can't do anything, don't just be stuck at something for too long that maybe there's something I am not inferring. Yes, give it a few seconds to decide, okay, am I inferring everything? But when there are so many unknowns, you have to trust yourself as well. That's again another skill. Trust yourself. Well, statement 1 now. Length of CD is 50% less than RS. So if RS, I call that S, side S, small s, then CD, which is actually the CD is this one, this small side of the trapezoid. This is going to be 50% less than RS. So it's S minus 0.5S. This is what you get for CD. So here I've marked that in the figure as well. Now, in all of this, what I'm trying to find is the area of the rectangle. Area of the rectangle means I have to multiply the length with the width. So if you see this here, I've written PS here, this is one, and SR for the other one. SR is what I've already called small s, but what I want to do here is, in my question I have information about the trapezoid, but I want something about the rectangle. So how do I connect the trapezoid with the rectangle? For that purpose, just see very carefully what I've done here. PS, first of all, this one here, is the same as the height of the trapezoid plus a 1 below it and 1 inch above it. So it's h plus 2. Similarly, SR, yes, it is small s, but I want to express it in terms of the trapezoid. So I can write it as AB plus 1 inch on the right, 1 inch on the left. So this way, whatever I want to find is also expressed in terms of things from the trapezoid. I don't want all these new unknowns every time. I have to keep connecting the dots. Now with this, let's see what I have. Well, statement 1 gave me this much, but remember, question stem is something you have always. So what did we have from the question stem? We already knew this much. Now what I have found right now is CD equal to 0.5s here. But that still does not give me the value of CD because I don't know S, right? So it still has too many unknowns. I don't know AB, I don't know S, I don't know H. I can't get anything from this. And if I can't get these things, I can't get H plus 2, I can't get AB plus 2, there's no way I can find what I was trying to find. So this statement here is insufficient. In the yes-no poll, tell me if you're clear about statement 1. 100% people are confident. So all those who are participating, everybody is now confident about statement 1 being insufficient. Great. Let's now move together to statement 2. So statement 2 tells us something similar. Length of AB is 20% less than RS. So similar relationship, RS was called small s here. So if it's 20% less than that, AB is equal to 0.8s. So I've marked that here in the figure also. So you can, simultaneously keep seeing things. Now again, this is what I have from statement 2, but question stem is always true. So what did I have from the question stem? I straight had 70, what was that again? 78 equal to AB plus something plus something. But yes, you see what I did? I straight jumped to the question stem without using one key piece of information, which was that I can connect this S with this 0.8S this time. How? This way. I have 0.8S, which is AB. If I add 1 inch on the right, 1 inch on the left, I know I'm getting the entire S. So 0.8S plus 2 is equal to S. You simplify this, you solve this equation, you get the exact value of S. How many of you had missed it like I did and straight went to the question stem, did not draw this connection here? So tell me in the yes no poll if you missed. Results, you have 70% of the people who missed it, 30% of the people did not miss it. So a lot of you missed it. Why? Because of the similarity of this statement with statement 1. When it wasn't happening with statement 1, we didn't even think about it in statement 2. Well, see why it didn't happen in statement 1. Let me go back a little. 0.5s plus what? I don't know this one on the left. I don't know this one on the right. I could not equate it to S. In this case with AB, the extra information I had was that the left is also 1, the right is also 1. So there was this difference, each of the two nearest sides versus just the nearest side. So this small piece made this huge difference here that many of you could not figure out. Well, now if I know what S is, I have a lot of values. This becomes 10, this becomes 0.8S, so just 8, this is what I have. Now when I take these together, that's how I'm getting 8. Now it's time to think about the question stem, where you knew this thing, 78 equal to this thing, this thing. Well, what I just found was AB is 8. So even if I put AB as 8, I still have two unknowns. I don't know CD. I don't know H, this height. So I still cannot find this area because again, I'm missing H. Even though I know AB now, it is 8. So 8 plus 2 is 10. I still don't know the value of H. So statement 2 is also insufficient. Tell me in the yes no poll if statement 2 is now absolutely clear to you. Votes, 100% of the people who are voting are comfortable, absolutely confident about statement 2 not being sufficient. Great. Now with that confidence, let's move on to our next stage, take them together. From statement 1, you had found CD as 0.5s, and from statement 2, you found the value of S only, which was 10. So if you put that here, you get the exact value of CD. You already had the exact value of AB from statement 2. That was 8. Now with this, what else can I do? Well, the question stem is still there for me. Don't forget that. 78, I know AB now, I know CD now. The only unknown is H. So with this 78 equal to 13 times H, I get the exact value of H, which really was the only thing I was missing in statement 2. The only thing that we didn't have was H. Now taking them together gives me H and this becomes sufficient. So the correct answer for this is option C. Do tell me again in the yes no poll if you're all now together on the same page and confident about this challenge. Have that 100% confidence level now. We're very close, 88% final results. 88% is confident about this. That means the 12% that are saying they're not confident, it's only about combining the statements, because I had 100% votes for statements 1 and 2 individually. So people who have a problem with combining these statements, please tell me how this is happening. All things are clear. How can we assume AB is longer than CD? We are not assuming anything at all. It's just how the figure is placed. But statements 1 and 2 tell you that. How do they tell you that? Let me show you the statements one more time. Well, AB is just 20% less than RS. while CD was 50% less than RS. So both of them started with the same thing, RS. One thing is just 20% less, another thing is 80%, another thing is 50% less. Obviously CD has to be less. Is that clear now? Any more confusion about combining these? Isn't not any. Oh, great. So no more confusion. Now that we know the answer is C for this, I would like to ask you people, how confident do you now feel? How do you think you've grown in the session? Tell me in the short answer pod, what are your big takeaways from today? Is really important. Correct, to read questions carefully. That's right. Data sufficiency, yes, you have to be very careful. So you notice that you made a lot of careless mistakes. You have to be careful. Practice more, focus on what the question is saying. Very well pointed out. Thank you. I've learned so much even though you've not covered geometry. Thank you for that sweet response. This was a pleasure doing this with all of you. And now that I see the takeaways, it makes me happier. Continue